Today we are talking about a banger of an OTC penny stock, Cyberlux Corporation, ticker symbol SYBL's exciting new acquisition, HAVAS Group, HAVAS Group. Then we'll dive into SYBL's investors presentation to reveal a roadmap on how Cyberlux plans to attain $223 million of revenues in 2025. SYBL released this announcement on October 29th that they had acquired HAVAS Group SAS as the company's South American renewable infrastructure financing and execution platform. The goal is to rapidly acquire solar capacity and deploy renewable energy infrastructure across the region and expand into the European market in 2022. The plan is to have HAVAS Group build out the Cyberlux renewable infrastructure capability platform in South America, including key financing, property, and personnel assets. This acquisition will launch the growth of the Cyberlux renewable infrastructure business, with expansion plans next in Europe in 2022. SYBL's plan is to accelerate the execution and implementation of the company's core renewable infrastructure technology, including solar, wind, and hydroelectric infrastructure projects. Founded in 2011, HAVAS Group SAS is a renewable energy financing company located in Bogota, Colombia, specializing in renewable energy project financing and implementation. HAVAS Group will be headquartered with the Cyberlux South American office in Bogota, Colombia. As part of the acquisition, HAVAS Group brings the rights to 3 projects with over 100 hectares of renewable energy property. What's really exciting is that Cyberlux anticipates these Colombian locations, once built out, will generate over 100 MW of electric power and over $6 million in annual revenue in 2022. As detailed in the company's Operation Alpha roadmap, Cyberlux has further plans to scale the renewable energy revenue in South America to well over $30 million by 2024. With this acquisition, Cyberlux Corporation owns 100% of HAVAS Group SAS in a transaction comprised of both shares of common stock and a cash component paid out over a 1-year earnout period. With this HAVAS addition, Cyberlux ITS business plans to grow to more than $13 million in revenue in 2022, $20 million in 2023, and well over $50 million in 2025. As you know, Cyberlux is just getting started. Now let's do a deep dive into SYBL's investors presentation to further understand the roadmap to reach $223 million in revenues in 2025. Here you will clearly see why I'm so excited about this stock, in which I also own shares. Cyberlux recently released this slide deck to share details about recent acquisitions and their significant growth plans for 2024. Remember that OTC stocks are highly risky, so I only invest money in OTCs that I can afford to lose. High risk can be high potential reward. And remember, this video is not financial advice and for entertainment only. Hi, investing friends, this is Lynn, and welcome back. So let's go and review today's hot stock. But first, if you could give this video a thumbs up in return for my efforts analyzing this stock, it would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, subscribe to our newsletter in the link below the video so that you can get notified before videos come out. The first slide shares that Cyberlux Corporation is an advanced technology platform company that is driving growth through acquisitions and joint ventures in the unmanned aircraft systems, or UAS, known as drone services, advanced lighting systems, infrastructure technology, and software and services markets. During Q3 2021, SYBL closed 2 acquisitions, one for UAS technology and capabilities, and the second for advanced infrastructure technology and global resources. These are huge markets with opportunities of over $100 billion annually. Cyberlux has projected that these markets will yield over $100 million in Cyberlux revenue by 2025. Of course, there are no guarantees, but I'm definitely holding on to my SYBL shares. But before we continue, in taking a quick look at Cyberlux history, in 2000, Cyberlux was founded as an emergency lighting products company, and in 2003 initiated public stock trading with an IPO. Now in 2021, when Cyberlux is launching a huge growth and expansion campaign with their corporate acquisition platform, FlyTie UAS division, advanced lighting division, infrastructure division, and software division. The rest of their investors' presentation is to help you understand more about how Cyberlux plans to reach over $100 million in revenue by 2025. This would be from their current revenues of approximately $1.6 million. Here, Cyberlux is sharing highlights of their customer base. CYBL has many impressive customers. On the commercial end, you'll recognize Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's. Their defense contractor customers include Cree's Wolfspeed, which is the new name for Cree's Power and Radio Frequency or RF business. Boeing and L3Harris are two of the largest defense contractors that I'm very familiar with, as I've been on site at many of their locations in my previous position as a manager in electronics promoting defense electronics for 9 years. You can see here CYBL's extensive DoD customer base from the Marine Corps to the U.S. Army and Air Force. Of course, Cyberlux has been on the GSA price list for the past 10 years, enabling a continued flow of business with their lighting products. CYBL has an experienced and impressive management team, from the CEO Mark Schmidt to their Executive VP Larson Isley, which I covered in more detail in my previous video on Cyberlux. They are also currently vetting a Chief Operations Officer. This is a great slide as it shows each Cyberlux division's business focus and 2021 market size. The Flight-Eye UAS, or Unmanned Aerial Services Solutions, offering operated drone service as a service to customers. It's huge to see that the company is developing intellectual property with Cree's Wolfspeed. Cyberlux looks at this UAS services as a $27 billion global market. CYBL's Advanced Lighting Solutions division is offered as a solution across U.S. agencies, and here again, the company has ongoing strategic IP development with legacy Cree and future Wolfspeed strategic supplier technology. This one is a $1.8 billion global market. The company's infrastructure technology solutions includes hardware, renewable energy products, and telecommunications technologies. This is reflected as a $56 billion global market. It's fascinating that Cyberlux is entering the infrastructure software solutions space, as this is huge. This will include UAS guidance system software, UAS service support software and telecommunications, data center and data analytics application solutions. Cyberlux lists this as a $221 billion global market. They aren't messing around, but you can see that CYBL is chasing market areas with enormous projected growth. On their business structure strategy slide, CYBL affirms that they are accelerating growth through acquisitions and joint ventures and focusing on driving growth in large target markets with a $300 billion opportunity. The 2021 Operation Alpha outlines CYBL's growth plan, and they outline acquisition priorities for Q3 and Q4, along with accelerating their South American pipeline. Slide 11 is pretty much more of the same. Slide 13 summarizes CYBL's Q3 acquisitions, including CTMC Drone Solutions, as the foundation for the new Cyberlux drone business unit named Flight-Eye Drone Solutions. The second acquisition was of FBD Group SHPK out of Albania, a global telecommunications service and technology provider, noted as a 5G communication technology provider for unmanned aircraft guidance systems. This division is experienced in designing enterprise software solutions and will assist Cyberlux in building their UAS data management and analytics support infrastructure. Slide 14 is where we really get excited in looking at CYBL's projections for each division and the growth each year. The numbers you see here are in thousands, with a total projection of $223 million for FY 2025. This is why Cyberlux has a projection of at least $100 million of revenues for 2025. It makes sense that their largest project revenues are for the Flight-Eye UAS solutions, which is to be offered as a service, and the infrastructure software solutions. Both of these typically yield a high percentage of gross profits, and drone services are in high demand with the DoD. We will skip slide 16, which you can view at your leisure, as I will provide a link to their IR deck in the description below. Slide 17 is an important one, as it covers acquisition targets, indicating for Q4 that they have 2 potential UAS and related software prospects under review, along with 2 prospective solar-related prospects. Finally, they pinpoint acquisition targets for the first half of 2022 in Colombia and Guatemala, along with 3 prospects in the DoD area. So, with all these big acquisition plans, related news would likely cause a big bump in the CYBL stock. Slide 20 shows how CYBL has an advantage in leveraging significant supply parts like Wolfspeed, Boeing, and L3Harris in creating their intellectual property. They're why we win on the market market battlefield slide stresses that they are establishing strategic value through end-to-end hardware and software capabilities. Customers always prefer this as they have one place to point if there are any issues or when they want to request product enhancements. So why invest in Cyberlux? The company is making acquisitions to grow revenues over a shorter time frame while planning to uplist potentially to the NASDAQ. Finally, in regard to providing a complete solution, Cyberlux provided an excellent diagram regarding their future market ecosystem. This is somewhat of an eye chart that communicates their vision. To the left, they address C2 or command and control, which is the arrangement of personnel, information management, procedures, equipment, and facilities essential for a commander to conduct operations. To the right of the diagram, CYBL addresses ForceNet, which is the operational and architectural framework for warfare. Here, warriors, sensors, networks, command and control, platforms, and weapons are networked into a combat force. In looking at their stock chart, you can see the pullback in price for CYBL, which began on September 30th, and I'm sure, which as the stock has current downward pressures from the large percentage of shorted volume that you can see on this OTC short report. I always love hearing from you, so please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are about CYBL and any other stocks that you are liking right now. Also go here to view our ILUS CYBL Fern playlist to get all the details on these top stock bangers, as well as our penny stocks under $1 playlist.